STB as in bells. I wish I had a little bell right here. Ooh. Secure the Bag podcast. I'm your host, Rachel/Ruby. You can call me what you want. I think I'm just going to start calling myself Ruby at this point because this is a fucking stripper podcast. And, well, I was a stripper. So, and you know what's crazy is last time I went to Vegas, because I've been retired since September of 2022. It's now December. It's literally been almost exactly 2 months since I quit. I quit the day before my retirement/coming out party. That was when I quit. It was on a Friday night, September 23rd. And it was the weirdest thing because I thought that it had to be this perfect, exit plan. And in a sense, it kind of was. So I told myself I want to get hired back at all the clubs that I had gotten fired from that I really enjoyed. I'm still fired from 2, technically. And one of them I really do want to kind of get rehired at, or at least want to go in there and just show, not my remorse, because the bitch that I got fired because of fuck her, but I want to show my gratitude for the club being what it was. It was a good club. And if I didn't know Vegas existed, I would have made that my main club. I would have moved to Austin in a second. And then the other one is another Vegas club. And like I said, I've been fired from every fucking club that I've worked at, basically, or suspended. And the 2 that I, really live by in Las Vegas, those 2 had, reasonable cause to fire or suspend me. I was a fucking idiot sometimes. But this club, this third one, that's, the third best one in Vegas, this one had no fucking reason. The guy was just a piece of shit. And he still is a piece of shit, at least when I, encountered him. And that's just based off of my interaction. I'm sure he's a great guy. But I just feel like these egos in Vegas and some of these people that are in the industry, they're just so entitled. And I get it. You got to play the game. There's politics involved for sure. There's people that want to get paid out, tipped. They want to get their piece. And I get it. And I'm all for it now. Before I used to not be. I used to just want to work alone. I was greedy. I was selfish. But now I'm a lot better, or, I'm better in real life, and I was better as a stripper as I continued through, my time. But I understand when you're in an industry for so long, you get really comfortable and you get used to the dynamics to where you forget that everyone's different. Some people are newer than others and they don't understand. And if you just take some time to educate people and work with them and kind of show them the game in a respectful way, not an egotistical, give me my money type of way, I think a lot more people would respect you. But yeah, so even quitting, I quit in September and I went back in November for a business conference, which had nothing to do, I wasn't even going to strip, nothing. I mean, it was in the back of my head a little bit. And I was like, fuck, I saved up all this money from dancing, right? And it was an emergency fund for when I quit to continue to help me grow my business and also be able to live off of it. And, I told myself, I was like, I'm considering stripping, but I told myself as well when I stopped that I'm never going to do it again. I'm not going to step foot. I wanted to leave on top. I did. I got hired back at the 2 best clubs in Vegas that I was fired from. And I worked there every day. I had the best month. I had the best week. And I just knew if I went back, that's me going back on my word. And I know I can continue to make money outside of dancing. I have other things that I can do. And as much as I love it and as much as I wanted to go back just to go back, I need to be better than that in a sense. I need to work on myself and give myself time to do something else. And I'll grow out of it because, like I said, I've said it a million times, stripping is probably the best decision I've ever made in my life, or one of them, because it taught me so much and it provided so much opportunity. So enough of my little simp fucking my simp story or my me missing stripping. Let's get into the fucking tea. All right. So this one is from May of 2019. We're still in May. Last week we talked about a couple of tips and things like that, and also dealing with scumbags in the club. Doesn't matter how rich or successful or known they are. People can be fucking cunts. And I really want to I shouldn't name, but I really want to mention a really famous person that I came across that was a fucking bitch. But I'm having a hard time with remembering. I can't remember. I don't think I ever came across a really disrespectful celebrity in the strip club. Outside the strip club, no. All right. Ready? Tonight was a very profitable night. Those are always great, but I was drunk. I was hopping from guy to guy and some girls, giving lap dances and being bolder than I normally would. I was overflowing my drink with Hennessy and even taking advantage of some guys a little bit. Hennessy? Really? You know what? Hennessy's the fucking devil. I don't know why I would drink that shit. I still drink it sometimes, but it's very rare. If you see me drinking Hennessy, run away. In the club, temptation can be a real bitch when it comes to alcohol. That's why if you do drink, you gotta know how to hold your liquor. I've grown to have a high tolerance, although I used to be the ultimate lightweight. That right there should tell you a little bit about how engaged I am in the club. Again, if the alcohol is around and offered to you and you know how to hold your liquor as well as stop when needed, then read below. I'm going to give you my key tips for maintaining a good figure and staying as healthy as possible in the club. A good figure, bitch. I'm like mad at myself for writing this shit. Like, I think at that time I was working out a lot, but then a lot of shit changed. All right, let's get into it. Just remember, never get too drunk in the club. That can affect your reputation, your contract, and of course, you could always get taken advantage of. So you got to be extra careful. Number 1, this is like the truth. I'm like almost upset of reading this because sometimes I didn't like live by it. And I fucking slipped sometimes, but we'll see. All right. Number 1, work out and eat healthy. Sorry, ladies, the solution here isn't to get a surgery that'll make your body perfect so you don't have to exercise anymore and can eat whatever you want. That's not true. I've gotten a surgery before. I got a surgery literally after a year after I wrote this. Like, oh my God. All right. If you drink at the club almost every work day, it's critical that you take care of your body outside of work. Working out and staying on top of your health will not only help you prevent diseases. Who the fuck am I? I'm over here really trying to be like fucking Rachel Ray or something. All right. Rachel Ray. Who's that famous workout lady that everyone would watch? Julian. The workout girl that does all the workout classes. She used to have all the workout videos. You know, okay. Oh my God. I really don't want to read it. It's only one more paragraph, guys. Just stick with me. And if you're into that shit and you're against surgery, this is for you. I shouldn't have said, if you can't handle your liquor, don't read below. But if you can handle your liquor, read below. Like, if you can or can't handle your liquor and you also don't believe in getting the surgery, then read below. That's the third one. Working out and staying on top of your health will not only help you prevent diseases, but it will also have you feeling and looking better in all areas. So have some forms of exercise that you do each week, like boxing, dance, not just stripping, regular gym workouts or fitness classes, then healthy snacks in and outside of work. I know after a long night, it's easy to want to get a large pizza and eat that whole fucking thing, but that's how the pounds really get added on. Protein bars, fruits, and nuts are all great, so be sure to stick to healthy foods like that. Even when I wrote that, I was eating healthy like I was, and I wasn't eating out like a crazy amount. Like, I actually really paid attention to like what I was putting in my body, but I couldn't train my body to get the figure that I wanted. Like, maybe I could, maybe. I was like 130, 135 in 2019. I remember specifically. And even when I got my first surgery, I was that weight. And slowly, as these last 3 years have gone by, I'm really about to say my weight. What the fuck? I've gained like 10 pounds, so I'm 145. But I love the way I look. And gaining that extra weight helped me for my second surgery. I'm not that mad about it. Anyways. All right, number 2. Get regular checkups at the doctor. I'm not reading this shit. This is fucking dumb. This is dumb as fuck. Like, I'm so sorry. Yes, you should, but I don't know why I wrote this. Why did I write this shit? But it is true. I'm kind of the weird paranoid type where if I don't go to the doctor, like, within a certain amount of time, every year, every 6 months, like, I will want to go get checked because as young people, like, I want to know how I can prevent diseases. Like, I've heard too many horror stories about people, like, not realizing they have these diseases until they like pass out on the floor and have to get taken to the hospital. And then all of a sudden a doctor's like, oh, you have diabetes. Oh, you have like cancer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and we're all young. Yeah. But we don't think it can happen to us. But shit, until you're on that floor, like getting rushed to the hospital, you'll be surprised what your body can come up with. So I said, I'm one of those weird paranoid type of strippers. If I don't go to the doctor for a long time, I'm afraid that I might not catch something that might be happening on the inside. When you go to the doctor, you can tell them some of your habits, and of course they'll direct you and give advice that will definitely be in your best interest to follow. Understand that we're making all this money now. You don't want to have to turn around and spend all that hard-earned moolah on medical bills. Let's remember, we don't get, what is it that people with jobs get? They get medical benefits. They get health insurance, right? It's paid for by their job. Yeah. So we don't get that. You know what I mean? And it's like one of my biggest fears when I was first dancing was, if I break my leg, like, do I have the funds set aside to be able to take care of myself for however many months until I can go back to work? In 2022, this year, February of this year, I sprained or cracked my fibula, and he said I was going to be out of work for 6 weeks, and I didn't tell him I was a stripper. Remember, I didn't tell anyone I was a stripper. I told him, I have to be able to walk. I have to be able to do this. He's like, no, if you want to recover properly, 6 weeks. Every single day while I was at home for 2 weeks, I would do exercises every day. I would do in-home therapy by myself. I'd watch YouTube videos. And even when I went back to work after 2 weeks, which I technically shouldn't have done, I put pressure on my foot every night, and I would limp for the first hour, in these fucking stripper heels. Okay. First of all, not only did I go back to work after 2 weeks, I was in fucking stripper heels. Okay. Stripper heels. And I was limping for I remember the first day, and I don't think I ever put this in a document, so I can talk about it now, but I cracked this fibula, and it wasn't at work. Okay. It was at a girl's house of one of my friends, and I was trying to slide on the hardwood floor with socks on, trying to go quick, and then next thing I know, I'm fucking in a cartoon, they slip on a banana, boom, boom, literally on my fibula. That shit hurt so bad. I got an Uber home with my dog. I don't know why my dog was there. My dog was at my friend's house. We got in the Uber, and he was still a puppy at the time, so he was fucking uncontrollable. And I could barely walk. I sit in my bed all day, and I'm like, what the fuck? I can't walk. I'm hopping. Even when I hop, I can still feel this leg aching. And I'm just I need to go to the hospital. So, and I didn't have any crutches or anything. So I'm hopping to my car. I get in the car. I drive on that foot. And they're like, yeah, it's cracked. You need to stay off of it for 6 weeks. You need to ice it every day. You need to do this, this, and that. Then I had to end up paying for my dog to go to doggy daycare because I couldn't take care of him. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do any of this shit. I couldn't take him on walks. He was a puppy at the time. He needed to run around and do all this shit. And then on top of that, he wasn't fully potty trained. So then I couldn't take him out. He wouldn't shit and pee on the potty pads. It was just a shit show. So I ended up taking him to the doggy daycare. Boom, bada bing. And I did all this work to get my leg right. And even after 2 weeks, it still wasn't right. And I remember the first night I went into work, to go work on that leg. Thank God one of one of my friends got us a room with this couple, and we ended up making $3,000 right away. I was so fucking thankful because I was off my leg. But this shit was legit swollen like a fucking pumpkin. It was bad. And even girls in the locker room, I know they peeped that shit too. They were like, oh my God, this bitch is crazy. But I was like, I got to make some money. February, I had to make money. So you never know. Go to the doctor. All right. Number 3, set limits. For myself, I have, I'm sorry. I said for myself, I have a 3-drink limit. I don't have any fucking limits. A 3-drink limit I put on myself and usually tend to break it. I put in parentheses, I need to work on that. When I have nights like tonight where I catch myself drinking too much, I'll usually take a few nights off the alcohol to remember that I can do this job without putting poison in my body to make me feel better. And that's true. When I first auditioned at the club, I was so tempted to drink and get a buzz before I went in. But I told myself, if I can't do this job sober, I can't do this job. And in almost every single time, you know how I mentioned that I've been fired from every club? Most of the time, liquor is involved. And it's not like I break the rules in a sense. It's more like I catch an attitude, or I don't hold my tongue like I normally would, because I understand unless someone absolutely outright disrespects me when I'm sober, which most people don't do. Most people don't disrespect you when you're sober or say dumbass shit. It's people that are under the influence. It's Kevin would never say, you're a fat bitch, or you're never going to be good enough. You're just a stripper. They would never say that sober. But when the liquor starts flowing, they want to get disrespectful. And you just so happen to also be off the liquor. So you have to defend yourself. You know what I mean? But it's like they would never say it while they're sober. And you would never react like that if you're sober. Maybe you would if they said it. But at the same time, no one would ever say it because they're not under the influence. That's how fucked up it is, right? And then you get fired or you get suspended or you get whatever because he was off the liquor and said some dumb shit that he usually wouldn't say. And then you just so happen to be off the liquor and he disrespected you. It's a shit show. Anyway. When you set limits, it's a lot better for your liver. We're not getting younger, and drinking almost every night will have a negative effect in the long run. So remember, work out, eat healthy, get regular checkups, and set limits. Oh, and secure the bag, Ruby! But just to go back to the alcohol thing, I don't know if I can say this. I think I can because I never mentioned clubs. And when I was 20, I started dancing. And I was dancing at a club that allowed, like, it had an open bar. I just couldn't drink. I had to wear a wristband. And I would sneak drinks in I would drink. And people saw my wristband. You know what I mean? Like, the customers did at least. And, like, the girls knew. But, you know, I was only 20 for, like, 2 more months until I then turned 21 and still was working in San Francisco at the time. And I would get fucked up, okay? And then that's when I tried to set limits when I went to Vegas and not get too fucked up. But, you know, I don't give a fuck. I would drink. And I still can drink. I can hold the fuck out of my liquor. I don't even know the last time I threw up. The only other times I've seen myself throw up is when I got roofied. And oddly enough, I've never gotten roofied at work. It's always while I'm out at a regular club. So it's kind of fucked up. But I would always, first thing I do when I go into the club, if I don't pregame, like take like 3 shots, which I ended up starting to do 2021, 2022, I would drink almost every night. And that's when I also knew in 2021, like September of 2021, a year before I quit, I told myself, I'm like, I'm literally drinking all the time. And that's when I started to notice more weight gain, which ended up helping in the long run. But during the time, I was like, dude, I need to stop drinking so much. Like, I'm drinking all the time. I need to quit dancing. And it's not because, like, oh, I can't dance without drinking. It's because I have more fun. I'm more loose, like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I can't get too fucked up. So I would have to, like, drink a little bit, sober up, drink a little bit more, and then get sober before I went home. And it's just a fucking job. It's another job, legit. And people would probably be like, lay off the liquor, Ruby, but I didn't care. You know what I mean? Like, I would just have to try to be as smart as possible about how much I would drink so that way I wouldn't go off on like a bitch, you know? But yeah, it's like I got to a point where I was like, I can't keep drinking like this. Like, it's really going to fuck me up in the long run, like long run in my older days if I continue to put my body through this much liquor. And that was another great, like, determining factor of me quitting dancing because there's so much shit around you. And I'm still proud of myself, but I really shouldn't be because this was a rule I set and this is a standard I had, but never doing any drugs, never taking money to do favors. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful for that. And although I would drink, like, we just had a fucking party, baby. It was just fun. And now that I'm thinking about it, I love it. I miss it. Anyway. Okay, so another day I went to work. This is a short one. We're going to wrap it up with this. And let's just see what happens. You want them to be drunk, but not like drunk. As I go about my business, I'm learning some new tricks of the trade. When a guy is drunk, it helps. But when he's too drunk, it kills. Quick tip for the ladies out there, because I wish I knew this. If your guy is drunk and orders more drinks, stop him. If he can't get his words out, is being super handsy, and can't sign his receipts, there's no way you'll be able to take him to your VIP rooms. Unless he has cash on hand or you can get him over to the ATM to pull out money, most clubs won't let the guy run his car when they know he's pretty fucked up. If your club throws it under the rug, lucky you. But there's been times where I've taken guys up to really expensive rooms just to get told they're too drunk and need cash. And then there's limits on these guys' cards, right? So that maybe they can only pull out 500 or 1,000 or whatever. And then you're like, oh, well, I can just take him over to the cashier and we can run his, like, we can get cash out that way, like a cash advance. There's still limits on that shit. So even if you want to use a credit card, like, you can't get cash out, or there's only so much, and then they have to call the bank, and they can't sound too drunk on the phone. You can't talk to the bank for them. You can't enter the shit for them. So it just becomes a big headache. But then by that time, the guy's wanting to go back to his friends, blah, blah, blah. But I've also had times where guys have paid me in advance for 2 hours, then get fucked up during our room and want to leave early. Hey, no money coming out of my pocket. I just wish I would have learned this earlier, because there's been a million times where I've been in a room with one guy or another girl doing double dances, and I'll want to order all of us drinks, and the other girl or waitress says, don't fuck up your bag. So to conclude, don't fuck up your bag. But these guys are so fucking funny when they get fucked up, especially like one of my last months, just like seeing these guys. And I have so many stories. One of them, the most memorable, is when I was trying to like make sure this guy he got so fucked up. And every now and then, like, managers and hosts and like waitresses will come back and check up on you. And if he looks too fucked up, or if he's on the floor, or if he's sleeping, they're going to wake him up and they're be like, okay, your hour's over. Like, you'll still get paid because he pays in advance, right? But you won't be able to continue. And that's the whole point. You want to have this one guy for the whole night, but you can't have him for the whole night. If he's tired, too drunk, too sloppy, whatever, his card doesn't go through, he can't even sign a receipt. That's tough. So one of the most memorable nights was this guy got really fucked up, and I knew the host was going to come back in like 10 minutes to come and like ask us if we want to do another hour. This guy had to throw up, but I wasn't about to walk his ass out to the bathroom. No, because then they'd see. I said, throw up in this ice bucket. Anything for the bag. Okay, so I was like, you need to throw up in this fucking ice bucket right now. He's a younger kid, like older than me, but he's like in his mid-20s. Probably still in like college or grad school. He threw up in this fucking ice bucket, and I covered it with like something so it wouldn't stink. And I was like, it's so fucking nasty. And then I don't remember if I even ended up getting another hour for that, but I think I did, or like his friend paid for it or something, or at least got tipped. But I was like, oh my God, that was literally one of the most memorable like drunk nights. But then there was another one when I was like, it's like when I was leaving, like quitting the industry, but it was one of my last nights in New York, and this guy, he didn't even drink that much. He started acting like he was hella fucked up, and he was telling me earlier in the night, he was like, I'm gonna give you all my money. And it only got an hour. So it kind of fucking made me sad. That was a greedy moment of mine where I was like, what the fuck? Like, he was going to give me all his money, but you never know. Maybe his card would have got declined. Maybe he wouldn't have wanted to continue. Maybe he'd even have the money. He was just saying that. But there's been some crazy fucking shit. So all good stories. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, comment any questions or anything that you guys want to know more about, and of course, secure the bag.